Hi guys, welcome to the video where we talk about the changes. So it's almost the end of May or the beginning of June, how you want to say it. And at that point in time we always make a release article. Two things: what's new, how to stay rolling. This is the video what's new. So the release video, the how to stay rolling video, has already been uploaded to YouTube. So in a few days, the ISOs that are now currently in AAG, have no idea what AAG is, have a look at this, right? Are at the moment on seed host, have been tested twice actually this month, and then voila, we release the ISOs. It's a good thing to keep sharing the view that we've implemented a few months ago. Basically, ArcoLinux XL, XS, DMB, they're all gone. It just was too much ISOs to build and test, because that's what we want to do, test the ISOs before we put it on the internet, right? It's essential, it's critical. So it just was too much. And now we went to 3 ISOs, and in my view, they're just 2 ISOs. There is the ArcoNet, which is for the bulk of our users, for the new guys on ArcoLinux, the new guys and the intermediate users. Guys who say, I want to test out a lot of desktops, give me a lot of desktops, but without too much trouble, right? So intermediate, beginner. You can select ArcoNet. The easy will get you XFCE, and then you go advanced, you see a few videos, and then you realize, oh, so we start with a clean slate, XFCE4 is gone, and you select the desktops you like, Budgie or GNOME or anything, right? So that's the ArcoNet bit. Like 5-10% maybe of our users are actually already seasoned users, as I say, are professionals, ArcoLinux professionals who know that file, that content of that file, that application. That's a service, that's the system CTL enabled this service. They know their ArcoLinux system, and all we provide is Calamares, a graphical user interface rather than the black screen that ArcoLinux provides. Right? But you tailor it any way you see fit, and that's the ArcoLinux professional approach, Arco Pro. Either you go with the easy installation, bare, there's even a script that says back to Arch, so even more stuff get removed. And then it's up to you to run your scripts or type your commands and then build it up again like a Lego box thing, right? But there's also the advanced version in Arco Pro where you can click things in Calamares, and you know what to click and change later on. So these are for me the 2 ISOs. The other one, Plasma, is just because you want to have Plasma. So ArcoNet Easy XFCE, Arco Plasma Easy Plasma, Arco Pro Easy nothing, right? Bare, black screen. So basically we have 2 ways of getting a desktop on your system without the internet. So easy is always without the internet. So Plasma is your choice if you want to have Plasma, right? That's the best choice if you already know in your mind, I want to have Plasma 6 in this case. Okay. Now, since this is a new release, well, while writing this, it came, well, not a surprise really, but we kept focusing on the ISOs. Calamares is the application to put, well, an operating system on your system, on your SSD, hard disk or NVMe. And we've focused a lot in last month about what can we do. So we always work with the latest code from Calamares. So that's something you can follow in the Calamares project, where everything is, well, written in articles, what changed since last release, for example. We did find there are several things why users can't log in. In ArcoNet Advanced, if you forget to select a desktop, SDM is there and you can't log in. Why? Because you forgot to select the desktop, right? and I've made a video that might be a good idea to forget it. And then run your scripts to get chat.wm, for instance. This is chat.wm. Get chat.wm is actually something you just can type, right? How easy is that? So it's actually a script that will install chat.wm anywhere. So ArcoNet Advanced, forget to select the desktop. You don't have a desktop, obviously, right? But these are things that we need to keep in mind. So that's one thing that we saw last month, users not able to log in, but it might also be that your system and the drivers that go with it, I'm thinking NVIDIA, do not support Wayland. So rather than the idea of Arch saying let's boot up with Wayland, and the idea of Plasma to say let's boot up with Wayland, we've decided no. Let's start with X11 again, and you decide if you want to go for Wayland and have a look. One works, the other doesn't, you know what to do, right? Use X11. Simple as that. So we're going to put X11 back as the default to avoid a black screen Wayland issue question mark, probably, right? What we've done as well is give you a choice inside Calamaris to install. It's not perfect, right? To install a driver. And what we've done in the code is if you select NVIDIA in the beginning and boot up with the ISO, then he knows I'll get NVIDIA DKMS by default, right? But there is old hardware out there, obviously, and it needs other drivers. So once you select any of these guys, 340, 390, 470, 525, only those four, those are new. If you select one of those guys, it will remove NVIDIA DKMS and install your choice. Do not install all of them, right? Investigate nvidia.com, look for the drivers, look your card up, and then you know, it's the 470 that I need, and only select one driver, right? You can't just go nilly-willy, or is it the expression? Select everything, and then voila. No, hope for the best. Not gonna work. Study Arch Wiki NVIDIA. You can now install the following NVIDIA drivers. You see, these is all what is available on Arch and also on our repos. So these are the new guys, 525, 340, 390, 470 is on our repo. Okay, still a lot to do. Investigate, how should I set it up, right? That's not in here. There's no artificial intelligence behind it. It's just if you select one of them, NVIDIA DKMS is uninstalled and your selection, 470 for example, is installed, and that's it. We've also put the information inside the ArcoLinux Welcome app. What is information? I mean by that the summary. So I've made a summary earlier on in this video. So ArcoNet, easy, advanced, a quick, short overview again. What was it again? What did Eric say again? Voila, there it is. Information summary. So ArcoNet Advanced, I've made a video about it because it's actually a good idea. We can protect you maybe somehow and make sure you always have a desktop if you select ArcoNet Advanced, but that would be silly because that would be, well, not advantage. There would be no advantage to it, right? Choosing ArcoNet Advanced and not select the desktop can be something you want to do. Just know the consequence. Forget to select the desktop in ArcoNet Advanced. SADM cannot log you in. Of course, there's nothing behind it, right? You forgot it, but that might be a good thing. Control Alt F1, F2, F3, F4, right? TTYs, virtual machine, right Control F1, 2, F3, F4, 5, and then you say sudo pacman -s, and then you go ahead and say you want to have GNOME, for example, okay? And GNOME will be installed. And then of course you can log in because there's a desktop again. What I've done here is, I think if I remember correctly, is install something. I've installed chat.wm, of course. No, I've just do whatever you want, right? Run your own script, install whatever you want. 30-ish desktops on Arch. Thanks to a user, thanks to the time of a user, I said, look, I have a problem on my end. Once you go advanced, you need the internet, right? And the internet is a complex story. I mean, there are lots of parameters where things can go wrong. And one of the things that we've learned from this 3-4 hour session, I think, is that your etcresolve.conf cannot be empty. So what we've programmed inside our application is, if you choose advanced, we're gonna check, does this have a valid IP address? Does it have a valid gateway? Can you get out of your network? If you can't get out of your network, you can't go on the internet. And of course, a distribution can't, there's no way for us to go and change your settings on your network. Would be hacking, right? No, it's up to you to ensure that there is internet on your computer, be it wireless, be it on local, wire, cable, right? But it's up to you to ensure that there are routers there, that there is an IP, that you get a gateway, that you get a submask and an IP and all that, DNS, it all needs to match together. And then you got internet, and then the advanced will work, right? It's obvious, right? It's obvious. And in virtual machine, normally there are no issues because you got your machine, your host machine that has internet, so your guest machine has internet too. But all the rest, it needs to go online and it needs to have data. It needs to have a DHCP in your network or otherwise. So we've done a check. If it's empty, you get a pop-up, a change, and a message, hey, there is no IP, and it might help, right? If everything is set right, then it might help to click on the network manager up here and say, let's just enable networking again, off and on, turn it off and on, right? And then maybe you get everything in. Everything meaning all the parameters to go to the internet, including a gateway, which is in here. Can't be empty. So we've just made it a little bit more, interesting to show you, okay, I have something wrong on my network. The machine that I booted up has no internet. Then of course advanced doesn't work. And sometimes with this user, right, there is an IP address, but there is no gateway. If you can't get out of your network, you can't go to the internet. So this needs to be not empty. There needs to be an IP address from your network, the gateway. Enfin, so we made it a little bit more interesting to show you, okay, there is an issue on your network. Arco Pro, we found an improvement for the BIOS computer, so only for the older computers. In lines 4, 5 and 6 in the Arco Pro ISO, I saw some code that needed to be removed, otherwise we can't use them. So 1, 2, 3 worked, and 4, 5, 6 is another kernel, didn't work. So that's now fixed. There was a user in this period of time who was asking, how can I make these icon themes, Alacrity themes. 231 themes, Alacrity themes can be used, but you need to think it through. So this is more a workflow thing. If you come across things, well, how do you figure it out, right? How do you figure it out? And this might be Alacrity, but this same knowledge can be applied on something else. NeoFetch, well, that's the message in May, right? We're stopping, NeoFetch is gone, everything is halted. It still works, right? And it will keep on working. And as long as it works, we'll keep it in the ATT. If it's broken, it's broken. Then we'll remove the tab of NeoFetch in ATT. But you can get fast fetch. In this point in time, we'll do nothing of the sort, right? If you open a terminal, there is just a blank screen. That's how we like to proceed for the future. Want to see something FF, fine, fast fetch, go for it. Want to see neo fetch, fine, go for it, right? There are 10 more of these tools to provide you some information, and that's good. If we want to know something on your end, we'll say, what card do we have, right? Then you see here, that's the graphical card. There is some information that's interesting for us to know, but right, by default, it's none of the above. Not fast fetch, not neo fetch, not screen fetch, not etc, etc. There's so many of these guys. If you want to learn about fast fetch, go ahead and have a look at the GitHub. We have our own config, the ArcoLinux fast fetch git config. So voila, where to get your information about an application can be another application. It's a workflow thing. Figure out how things work is by reading, often testing and reading. We have a new Arch ISO. This matters because the Arch ISO application is the one we use to create our ISOs. So we follow it, but not blindly. We did not follow the idea to put up with system deboot. You can try the ArcoLinux ISO, and if you press the button, the arrow buttons down and up, have a go at it, and tell me how many seconds it takes to go from line 1 to line 4, or back up. So there's a slow transition from line to line if you use the system deboot as suggested today by Arch. We did not follow it. We keep on the grub that was from last month, from Arch ISO 77. We've also removed the microcode from the boot up line as it caused issues. So maybe you've seen the messages a month ago or something, right? The microcode, Intel, Ucode, AMD, Ucode, microcode, moved from their code, from the Arch ISO, and came into a Pacman hook. Okay, so we'll see what happens on our machines. Everything is cool and all good, so we'll see. It's always in the back of our mind, so to speak. Then I've made some videos about Plasma. I want you to think out of the box. We are ArcoLinux, sure, but we're also ArcoLinux, sure, but we're also Linux. Okay. So if your goal is, I want to have Plasma, you can do so many things. You can have Plasma, and we've raised it a little bit with the Auto team. So although we are on ArcoLinux, it's all Linux. Learn here and apply anywhere. So we've installed Plasma on ArcoLinux, Plasma on ALCI, that's also Arch, Plasma on KDE Neon, Ubuntu. I'm gonna add, which is not written here, Plasma on NixOS, right? Okay, fine. There's another one I've created as well. Let me think. Kubuntu, that's another one. But to be fair, we were unable to go from Plasma 5 to Plasma 6. We were able to do that on NixOS. The point of all the videos is Plasma anywhere. So if you decide to have a certain desktop, GNOME can be tested out on so many distributions. I have not recorded it, but I've made an installation in SUSE as well. So it doesn't really matter what Plasma, where you are on Plasma, right? Because anything can be raised, for example, Auto theme, on any of these guys. And I want you to think out of the box. So if you see videos about Plasma on Manjaro, doesn't matter, right? Watch the videos and see if you can apply the knowledge into any of the other guys. And here they are. Oh, look at that. NixOS is here. That's how I did it, but I should write it here as well. Point is Plasma everywhere. Learn from any video about Plasma and apply the knowledge. And this video, what is new? That's going in here. How to stay rolling is already created. We need to remove Quantum Qt5 Git, get it out, and get in Quantum Qt5, not the Git. So that's a script also in the bin folder, the .bin folder in your home directory if you do SCAL. Problem installing, have the reflex to use the easy installation. So we tell you guys, this has so many variables that can go wrong, right? One of them was etc resolve. Okay, that's now, at least you get a message. Hey, it's blank, it's not okay, you can't go advanced. But there are so many others that are not covered, right? So it is your network that needs to work. And that's your responsibility, not for the responsibility of the ISO builders. You need to make sure that your system is up to specs at home. Internet is working, right? But even so, there are things that are beyond our reach. Servers that go online, key rings that go wrong, pacman that clashes with packages, right? There's so many things that go wrong. Realize if it fails, okay, go to the easy installation, because that always will work. It's offline. It's bit by bit by bit by bit, boom, and then you reboot. And maybe another moment to remind you that if we type ISO, and I've changed it a little bit, if we type ISO, then you see only the reference to the ISO that was used. It will never change unless you see ArcoNet did not exist back then. I've changed it a little bit, so well, you can change the file. It's just a file. It will never be updated anymore. After installation, it's fixed. Okay, so there we are. Everything has been set. If you need more detailed information, you can find it on the commits on GitHub. So there's that. That's the things we've done. We've focused on Calamaris, that's for sure. But also things that I have not mentioned is updating Hyperland. We've done some changes there. Updating Nindo. I mean, those are small things, and just go in the flow of things. All right. Have fun with ArcoLinux. Cheers.